guys, it's Sandy with Urban Rebel Designs in Aztec, New Mexico. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to put my phone over here, so excuse me. Before we get started, I wanted to show you the charcuterie board. See if I can hold it up where you can see it. I still have to put resin over it and then it will be finished. So I'm going to set it aside. Now, if you caught my live on the Dixie Belle page yesterday, you know that we started this beautiful French Provincial piece. So I will hurry and catch you up with what we've done, and then we can get started on finishing the top. So we base coated, we did one coat of Slick Stick, let it dry for an hour, did the second coat, let it dry overnight. I came back, I did two base coats in Sawmill Gravy. That is going to be actually our accent color. And today we're going to pour the top. I've already wrapped the piece down here in plastic wrap. This is just a big roll like furniture movers use, and we wrapped it around so when I pour the top and it drips over, it's not going to mess with my base coat. When you jump on, say hi so I know you're here. Also let me know where you're watching from. And we're going to get started pouring the paint on this piece. Then we will let it dry, and tomorrow afternoon at 4 p.m. Eastern, I will be in the World of Chalk Paint Distress and Decoupage group, where we'll be working on doing the details on the drawers, painting the hardware, and painting the medallions that are going to go on the side. Then on Wednesday, we'll come back and we're going to spray the body. We'll have the top covered in plastic. We're going to spray the body in caviar. We're going to do some stripes on the sides. And then, I think next Saturday is when we're going to finish up the top. We'll decide between now and then if we're going to pour resin or if we're going to do some sort of poly on the top. So I've already mixed up all of my paints. My recipe for paint pours is about 3/4 paint to 1/4 of Floetrol. You can get that at Home Depot or Lowe's or order it from Amazon. It is not a product that Dixie Belle carries, but it's one that I really like to use when I'm pouring, especially when I'm doing a big piece, because it gives you more open time, more working time with the paint. It also helps to develop cells, which is when the bottom layer of paint pushes through the top layer, and it gives you that really cool design. So we're going to get started, and I'm going to do this a little bit different today. Hey Heather! Heather, I'm going to be talking about bells and bows in a minute. I'm going to be pouring my color first, and then, hi Beverly, I will be pouring the background color, which is the Sawmill Gravy, and then we're going to play in it. So we're going to get started. The colors that we're using are Caviar, Silver Bullet, Sawmill Gravy, and notice I have a lot of it, and just a little bit of the Golf. So I'm going to start with Caviar. And for this pour technique, all we are doing is just randomly pouring it over the surface. Had a piece of dust there. So, let's see. Hi Madeline. Oh, I love that name. Who has their tickets for the Bells and Bows tour? If you do, let me know. If you don't, there are still tickets available. January 18th in Atlanta, and if you haven't heard, there are now 9 instructors, so there is no worry about getting your money's worth out of that. I'm gonna start pouring while I'm talking, and if I talk too fast, just let me know. I also have some paper down here underneath this to catch any drips, because we are going to have drips. And thank goodness you can't see my feet, because my shoes are going to come off in just a minute. I'm one of those strange people that I cannot paint with shoes on. So again, what I'm using is, this is Dixie Belle's Caviar. I've mixed it 3/4 paint with 1/4 Floetrol, and that gives us more working time. It also helps us to develop the really cool sails. And if this piece turns out the way I have it in my mind, it's going to be a really dramatic piece. So now I think I'm going to go with Silver Bullet. And it's going to look like a hot mess for just a few minutes, but that's okay, we're going to fix it. So I'm going to go with Silver Bullet. And I am just randomly pouring this. This will kind of give us in the end a marbled effect, but it's also going to give us a really cool, funky top. This is a very classic, dramatic piece, and I wanted something really funky for the top, and this is what I came up with. Okay, so I still have some Silver Bullet left, but I'm going to set it aside, and I'm going to add just a little bit of the Gulf. And I'm doing that because our hardware and the medallions that will be on the side are going to be in the Gulf. So I want just a touch in the top. So I won't use all that I have mixed up, but I will have some extra if I need to go back after we get it all smoothed out. If I need a little bit of extra color anywhere, I will have just a little bit. The Bells and Bow tour that's in Atlanta on January the 18th, I am so honored to have been asked to join them to teach you everything you ever wanted to know, and probably then some, about paint pours. I will tell you that when you learn to pour paint, it is one of the most fun things you will ever do, and it's very relaxing. I have even gotten my husband to do it. Now this is the Sawmill Gravy, and I'm not being very careful, but I'm just filling in the open spots so I can go back and we can make our marbled effect. And I know a lot of people think that it takes a lot of paint or that it wastes paint when you do this, but you're going to see I have really only used, I would say 4 to 6 ounces, and then you add the Floetrol into it. So it really takes very little, and all I need to do is to put a lid on this and save it, and I can use it for my next project. So we have this all done. I'm going to grab a clean stir stick, and I'm going to start pulling it through. And you'll notice that when it mixes, actually I need a little bit extra there. When I'm pulling it through, it's going to mix, it's going to make some different colors, and it's going to give us a really cool effect. And there are several ways we can do this. We can do it the way that I'm doing, which is I'm just pulling the colors through each other and making a random pattern. If we don't like the way it's looking, then I will show you another technique, but because I like for everything to be even, I am going to continue this. And I'm hoping that you can see the top well enough. Now the other thing that we can do is we can take a yardstick and pull from one end to the other, and that's what we're going to do right now. And you'll notice my yardstick has been used before. So I'm going to start back here so you can watch the paint move. And what I'm going to do, I'm not going to start at the very end. If you'll notice, I'm starting about 8 inches from the end. I will go back that way I'm getting everything covered, and we're just going to pull it through. And now I'm going to go this way. And it looks like that the center of this is a little bit lower, so we can work with that. And I want it to run off the edge. My paint booth is getting in the way. And now I'm going to come from the front, and we're going to go sideways. And all I'm doing is just moving the paint around so that it's going to cover the entire piece. If you've seen me do smaller pieces, this is the point where I would normally pick it up and rotate it and turn it so the paint can run however it wants to. But this piece is a bit large for me to pick up. So we're doing this to mimic it. Now we can decide if we want a pattern in it, because it looks like a hot mess right now. But we're going to make a pattern, so we're just going to start from the back, and we're going to make zigzags. So this is going to give us a really modern looking top to a really classic piece. It will give us a little bit of drama. And I will make sure that all of my edges are covered. If you remember how we do that, we go through with a little stick and pick some up and make sure that it's all covered, or we can use our fingers where we see, like back here, there's a hole. I can use my fingers, and all I'm doing is creating a channel for the paint to flow down. There's one right there and one right there. And once I've created that channel, then as the paint continues to drip, it will just flow right down that. So I'm going to try to move this a little bit more. And there we go. So we will let this sit. It will probably take it 2.5 days to completely dry. I will take my little stir stick and go through it, make some more swirlies, make sure that it's running where I want it to run. And then when I believe next Saturday at this time is when I'm going to finish this up. We'll decide if we want to do gator hide or another polyacrylic, or if we want to pour resin on it. I'm thinking at this point that we're probably going to pour resin. So join me next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern. In the meantime, you can look for me. I have pinned it at the top of my page, Urban Rebel Designs, what the schedule is for this piece, and you can follow it along step by step. If you miss something when I'm finished, I will post it to my YouTube channel so you can go through and watch all of the different videos at once. But this is how we have created some drama on the top for this piece, and the rest of it's going to be really, really classic. So I hope that you'll join me. Again, don't forget, get your tickets. Look at that. Get your tickets for the Bells and Bows Tour. It's bellsandbowtour.com, or look for the Bells and Bow Tour Facebook group. Thanks for joining me, and we will see you next week.